In this video, we're gonna make an ice base. This is going to be for my Deathwatch Primaris Librarian, and I want him standing up on a piece of concrete. So I'm just going to pull out some of these big chunks that I have in here and just kind of eyeball what it would be like. And I have quite a few large chunks. They come big like this. So I'm just kind of going through and finding one that I think we will enjoy. With my block chosen, we're going to take this Vallejo earth texture, and I'm going to put this all over the base. This is going to ensure that I have some form of texture underneath everything, and this is also what I'm going to use to glue everything down. All right, texture, concrete, done. All right, I'm going to try something new with this ice base. I'm going to try putting some of this rocky stuff down underneath it. The tutorial that I first watched on making these ice bases put some rocky stuff down, and I think it adds an interesting effect, so I want to give it a shot myself. And I'm just going to shove this stuff down into the texture paste so that when it dries, it will all stick. I will eventually be dry brushing on this, and I don't want the pieces to flake off, so I'm going to seal it down with some watered down PVA glue, which is just what it sounds like, some water mixed with some PVA glue. With it being watered down, it'll flow down into the cracks. It'll dry clear, but when it dries, it will hold all of the bits together, so I should be able to dry brush over it. Still not going crazy, going a little light, but everything will stay sealed down. This is what it looks like after it's dried, so you can't tell, but I can wiggle around the bits and they don't come out, and that is the effect we're going for. All right, so we're gonna start painting this with Enchanted Blue. I just picked any, kind of leaning towards the dark side mid-tone blue, and we're just gonna paint this all the way around. It's gonna take a couple layers. I'm gonna do it a little more watered down on the second coat just so that it gets down in the cracks better. All right, the piece of concrete we're gonna paint in Mechanicus Standard Gray. This will also take a couple coats. I'm not worried about being too messy near the edges of the rocks and the concrete because we're going to put some texture medium stuff over this anyway, and it's gonna clear it out. Okay, blue, gray, and we're gonna hit this with a blue wash down in all the rocks just to get down the crevices and to add some contrast. All right, you're gonna have to walk away and let this dry for a while. But when it's done, we're going to hit a dry brush with Glacier Blue, and we're gonna do both the rocks and the edges of the concrete with this. And after we're done with this dry brush, we're gonna come back and we're gonna do a light dry brush with white. All right, and here is the Distress Crackle Paint Clear Rock Candy. If you didn't watch the video before, make sure you shake this up like crazy before you open it. I had trouble opening mine, so I'd use some rubber bands. I'm gonna have to clean off this rim. It's getting kind of caked, but shake it up like crazy, and then get yourself a synthetic brush, and we're going to glob this on to the base over all of the rocky texture, and I'm gonna go quite thick. It's gonna start dripping off the side, but this is similar to the crackle paints that Citadel sells, where you want it, the thicker it is, the more cracking effect that you get. And I'm gonna do this all the way around, and I'm even gonna put it up on the concrete a little bit. The trick after you put this stuff on is to walk away. It takes a really long time to crack. I let this one sit for like 12 hours, and then I decided to put a second coat over it again, and then I let that sit overnight. When I first used it, I thought it wasn't working because it was going so slow, but it does crack. You just have to give it time. So put a bunch on, give it time. If it's seeping over the sides, it's okay. Just put like a paper towel or something underneath it. After using this a couple times, my advice to you is kind of sponge out the stuff that's on the lid, and then clean the rim before you seal it up. And I'm going to keep these rubber bands on it just to be safe. All right, there we go. It is pretty glompy, so walk away and let it dry. All right, 2 coats, lots of time later. This is what we have. It is pretty messy, but I think I like where we're heading with this. So the plan is, in order to help accentuate the crackingness of it, we're going to come in and we are going to do a light dry brush of this with white. We're going to take it easy though, because the crackle paint here is kind of fragile. I actually flick off a little bit by accident. I'm going to come in and I'm going to do this twice. This crackle medium is pretty brittle, so we are going to do another round of sealing with PVA glue. Alright, so the areas where I kind of went over the concrete and along the edge are pretty messy, but again, this stuff is pretty brittle. So I'm going to be able to, the areas I didn't put the PVA glue down, peel this off with my fingernail. So I'll be able to clean that up some. And the effect now has made it quite matte. So we're going to come in with some gloss varnish and we are going to paint this over so that it becomes shiny again. And there we go. She is shiny again. So that is just about all I'm going to do this base until I get the actual figure on it. Then we're going to come back in and we're going to add some snow and see where we go from there. I think the rocks underneath does add to the effect, and I'm pretty happy with it. The whole ice-based thing, I think, warrants some more experimentation, but I think once I get the figure on top of this and put some snow around it, it's going to look really good, and I'm going to enjoy it. All right, that's how I hobby today. If you let me know how you hobby down in the comments below, I'd love to check it out.